The Goede Hoop Lodge was formed in 1772 and is in fact the oldest acting Masonic lodge in the Southern Hemisphere. In 1802, this temple was consecrated, and that is similarly the oldest active Masonic temple in the Southern Hemisphere. It plays a very special part in our history, and certainly it plays a very special part in the history of South Africa. So it's a real pleasure to be able to tell you more about it. When we look at the lodge was founded at the time when there were only 1,000 houses in the whole country. And the temple which we are touring today is on the same grounds as the Houses of Parliament, but they in fact were built some years afterwards, and the first Parliament was actually held in the boardroom of the Goede Hoop Temple. The key players in the building of the temple, and that was Thibault, who was the architect, and I heard described earlier today as the greatest architect in the history of South Africa, Anton Anrieth, who was the sculptor, and the builder was Schutte. This particular statue is called the Figure of Silence, which many of you will be familiar with, and that in fact is an original Anrieth. It's very beautiful, and it's typical of the type of work he did. And if you have a look at it, you'll find that it's actually secured to the wall, because by the nature of the material used, it would crumble if it wasn't. I think let's go across and have a look at a couple of other Anrieths. This is all part of the original temple, and this door, this beautiful door, is typical of the type of materials that they used in the day. I mean, look at the width of it. It's solid wood. It's absolutely beautiful. In here, this is what we term the Chamber of Meditation, and the statue that you see here is the slain Hiram Abiff. If you go into researching Freemasonry, he's a very prominent player, and we've made all sorts of stories about Hiram Abiff. And the middle chamber is also a very special place. This is also part of the original building. So this goes right back to 1802, and the statue in the background is the figure of grief. You will be able to see it, a mother consoling her child after the loss of the husband. And that is the last of the Anrieths that still exists in our temple. This is the original entrance area, and if you notice, it's got a very interesting stippled effect on the walls. And we were confused about that for many years. We weren't sure what it was all about, and then fairly recently, we had an architectural student come in, and he pointed out that it was to depict the lead of the temple. It was supposed to be foliage. It was all painted green and brown, and it was created an effect of this being an outside area. In fact, they painted the roof blue, and it made it a very interesting area. The Honours Board of Lodge de Goede Hoop itself goes back, as you will see, to 1772. If you go through it, if you go through the names on there, you will see some more than interesting people. I should point out, incidentally, that the main temple is not the way it was originally. There was a major fire in 1892, and it destroyed the main temple. What we've seen so far with regard to the outside areas were right back to 1802 in the original construction. But the main temple was reconstructed after the fire. The main temple itself is an interesting shape for a Masonic temple. It's long, it's narrow, but it's based on the exact dimensions of the inner sanctum of King Solomon's temple in Jerusalem. The temple itself, as you will see, is laid out in the Netherlandic type pattern, with the warden sitting at the west and the master's chair in the east. Around the walls of the temple, we have 3 statues, and these were imported to replace the statues that were destroyed in the fire. They are all symbolizing wisdom, strength, and beauty. The first one is the representation of beauty, and that in fact is the Gibson's Venus. The original of that is found in Birmingham in England, and it is the first ever tinted marble statue. So if you have a look at the original, it wasn't white, it's actually it's painted marble, and she's holding an extremely bright red apple, and she's got a very bright red pair of lips. In the east, we have the other 2 statues that were imported from England, and the one on the right-hand side is the statue of Hercules, that's the Lansdowne Hercules, and he is now found in the Getty Museum in California. There were all sorts of stories about how he got there, and there was rumors about Getty having had a relationship with the Nazis and they gave it to him as a present. But quite honestly, I'm not too sure about that. But that's where you will find it today. That's the Lansdowne Hercules. And he, of course, denotes strength. And then the final one is the statue of wisdom, which is depicted by the Giovannini Minerva, or the statue of Athena, the goddess of a wide variety of things, including wisdom. She was also the goddess of war. She was the goddess of pottery. She had the most incredible range of things that she was a goddess of. But she is our depiction of wisdom. The worshipful master is situated in the east, and in fact we go around it, and I'm not going to take you on all the detail now, but if you go around it you will find that virtually all of the furniture was donated by the brethren immediately after the fire, and you'll find their names on the back of the different pieces and so on. But that in itself is actually very interesting. The ceiling is to depict the night sky, and this one is in fact fairly new. It is a suspended canvas. The original one had reached a point where it perished and split and was unfortunately beyond repair. This one has been put in its place, and we're also thrilled to bits with it. It's very beautiful. And then the final statue, this is a statue of hope. All right, it's a local statue. The others were imported from overseas, but they had a space, and somewhere along the line they put in the Statue of Hope. It was done in Cape Town. It's produced by a Cape Town sculptor, and we actually don't know who did it. We just don't have any records of that. But nonetheless, it would have been shortly after the others, and also plays a very real part in our history and in our symbolism. Now, hope holds the anchor, and you'll see all around the place. And in fact, she appears in various places around Cape Town and around the area. And even the fountain outside in the garden has got a figure of hope in the middle of it. So she has two depictions in the complex. Masonic symbolism is included all over the place. The checkered floor, for instance. In some temples, you will find that they put a carpet in the middle with the checkered floor on it. We don't. The whole temple floor depicts the symbolism of Freemasonry, which says that every man has a role to play in the world, and that each one has to fit in as he is best suited. So if we look at the floor, we have black tiles and white tiles, we have triangular tiles. Each one of them is perfect in its own right, and they have to be combined to make the perfect whole, which is symbolized by the floor that we have. There are many more symbols of this type that we could explore, but our time today has unfortunately come to an end, and I just want you to know how much we've enjoyed spending the time with you, and we sincerely trust that you found it of value and that it's inspired you to come and spend more time with us again in the future. Thank you for joining us.